So conference this semester is on the spine. We've been studying the spine for the last 5 weeks, and the book that we're reading is Vanda Scarvelli's Awakening the Spine. So we've been talking about getting movement into the spine, elongation, how we twist not from the lumbar spine but from the thoracic spine. We've been also talking about the energetic spine in yoga, so our pranic practice. Sushumna Nadi is the main nadi or meridian that runs from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. And in yoga, we're trying to get some breath and pranic movement through Sushumna Nadi. And as well, we've been talking about the emotional spine, so how it affects our emotions, what we hold in our body, and how we can open up and release those things in our yoga practice as well. So up until now, we've been studying movement that involves creating some space in the body and also some opening in the spine. And this week is the first week we're going to move into another aspect of keeping our spines healthy if we look at the anatomy, and that is to strengthen your spine, to strengthen your back. So there are a lot of statistics out there about back pain and different back issues, and one of the statistics I ran across was that 85% of Americans at some point will have to deal with some type of back pain or back issue, and then it's only second to the common flu and the cold. So it's, as we know, it's really important to keep our backs, or if we think of it as our spines, healthy. And of course, all the things that we've been studying about keeping them long and twisting and all these things that are going to keep us healthy in our spines flexibility-wise are important. But what we understand as well is that we have to stabilize and also strengthen muscles in order to keep the back healthy. So the main muscles I want you guys to think of today when we're looking at our yoga practice and actually strengthening the spine, we're going to start with the erector spinae. Do you guys know those muscles? Where they are? Nobody? Ray's going to say. So the erector spinae start at the base of the head and run all the way down the back through to the lower back here. And if you go and see your family doctor because you have back pain, they actually give you some yoga poses to do to strengthen your back, to strengthen your spine. And they don't call them yoga poses usually, but what do you think they are? Tell me one pose you think that a doctor would give you if you were having back issues. That's a good one, cat-cow, actually. For this particular strengthening, the back would be salabhasana. So they might refer to it as Superman pose. But if you have back issues, if we look at those muscles that I was just talking about, you're going to be opening the front of the body, but at the same time, you're going to be strengthening these back muscles all the way through the lower part of your neck. Another pose that we do a lot in primary series that a doctor might give you, we would say chaturanga. But it's basically coming from the floor. Maybe if you go to a website and see what doctors recommend, they might have you do chaturanga from the floor where you're coming up, where we sort of lower into it. But again, these same muscles are strengthened when we're doing that. Another thing is, the more we study the spine, we understand, last week we were talking about the vertebrae and the discs and how important that is. We also, our spinal cord is housed in here and protected in here. So one of the things we want to do to keep it healthy through strengthening is all those ligaments and tendons and muscles that connect to those bones and tissues. We want to keep those strong so we can actually stabilize the spine. To keep it from being too loose. Every now and then I'll get a yoga student who's really, really flexible, and they can just drop into a back bend super easy. And these students have a harder time, if you think of it this way, stabilizing the spine. It's very loose in there, and it's hard for them to pull it all in and hold that strong. So one of the ways that we're going to help stabilize the spine in our yoga practice is through 2 locks. What are they called? Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, yeah. So for Ashtangis, this is like the core of our work, right? Is we're going to pull the lower abdominal muscles in, and we're going to contract the perineal muscles. And we try to do that throughout the entire practice. And we understand, again, if we can do that, it's one of the ways we're going to stabilize the spine and the back and keep it really healthy. So a couple things that we do throughout this practice today that are going to facilitate that is just me reminding you guys in every pose to hollow that belly out as much as you can and pull those perineal muscles up. Good form in chaturanga today. Remember, that's how we're going to strengthen the back and the spine. So when you're in chaturanga, I want everyone to think of pulling that lower belly up in there as well, and only go down as far from a plank as you can sustain that good structure, that good form. The demo for this week, and I didn't warn Tamara of this, but is actually headstand. So in headstand, if you guys are, if you've ever, how many of you read Yoga Mala by Pattabhi Jois, written in 1962? Everyone here should say, I have. So there are great pictures of Sharat and Guruji in there, and there's a beautiful picture of Sharat and headstand. And you'll notice something about Sharat and headstand. Do you notice how his headstand is? In an advanced headstand in the Ashtanga system, we are going to have our head actually off the floor. So this is what I want everyone just to start working on as we talk about stabilizing the spine and strengthening the spine and back. If I have a very loose spine and I'm loose, it's going to be harder for me to, I'm demoing a loose spine. It's not the best demo, but it will feel more loose through here, right? But if I engage my bandhas and use my limbs to pull everything in to strengthen the center area, I'm going to be able to create the strength to lift out of. Of course, this is better for our cervical spine too. We understand from the last couple weeks we're doing things to eliminate that daily compression. Inverted poses, headstands are fabulous for that. So as we start to advance in our practice, we come into headstand, we're going to start to press down through the forearms and elbow, and maybe at first you just lift your head a little bit off the floor. You could slide a piece of paper under there. Or for some of you, this is kind of my little trick, is put your pinkies right under your head and start to use your pinkies to push your head a little bit. This is one of the ways. Otherwise, the more you advance and the more you're going to lift your head off the floor more, and eventually, if you see Sharat in his picture of the most advanced headstand in Baddhahasta Sirsasana, you're going to be looking up towards your toes. What's interesting about this particular drishti is it forces me to pull Uddiyana Bandha all the way back. So I don't have that bend in my spine, I don't have that arch. I pull that all the way back through to sustain that strong spine, and the head picks up the other way. So today when we get to headstand, I just want you guys to have a little bit of fun with this and just start just trying to little bit to push your arms in and get that feeling of lifting out of your head. But before you try it, remember, it comes from the strength. It comes from your bandha strength. It comes with the sensation of you pulling everything in. Samasthiti. So the quote for this week to go with our teachings on strength is from Louis Pasteur. Let me tell you the secret that has led me to my goal. My strength lies solely in my tenacity.